What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another About Teams video. Make sure to like and sub if you're liking this content, and follow us on Twitter, or formerly known as X now, at About Teams NFL. Today's going to be a shorter video. We're just going to do some game by game predictions for these upcoming games, Sunday and one Monday, and do a quick recap of the Thanksgiving games that happened. While I was eating food, a lot of food. I was watched a little bit of the Packers Lions. I was kind of definitely surprised. I picked the Lions in that game, but the Packers just came out swinging early. It was like a 21-7 start after, or 21-6 even. It was a blowout early, and the Lions, kept trying to come back, but they just fell short. Jordan Love had arguably his best game so far, and even though it's his fourth year, he's basically a rookie after sitting behind Rodgers for 3, and he looked great and has looked better over the past couple of weeks. So give him credit for that. I think Green Bay will stick with him for another year. I mean, he's under contract. He's shown signs of improvement, has ups and downs, but even for a fourth year, this is your first real NFL action, and you don't really know what you're going to get into until you hit the field. So you're going to experience growing pains, and he's definitely grown though as a passer over these last couple of weeks. Definitely been a lot more accurate, and he beat the 8-2 Detroit Lions, who have not looked the same these past couple of weeks. They had a close call against the Bears. I believe they're down like 26-14 in the fourth, and they had 2 late touchdowns and a safety to end the game, but that was not impressive. And then they lose to the Packers by a couple scores. It was just, not the Lions' best game. Or maybe it was one score with a garbage time touchdown. Let me check. Yeah, it ended up being a 7-point game, but it was a garbage time touchdown late. It was not very impressive, but then moving on, though, to a team that was impressive, the Dallas Cowboys. They destroyed the Commanders. I picked the Cowboys in this one. It was a no-brainer. I thought maybe the Commanders could keep it close, but the Commanders' defensive performance was so bad that their defensive backs coach and defensive coordinator, Jack Del Rio, ended up getting fired. Dak Prescott looked amazing in this game, and I think after putting up that performance on Thanksgiving, he's definitely gotten a lot more MVP steam, and rightfully so. I mean, he's played great, and there's no clear favorite. Like Mahomes has not been that great this year. Joe Burrow with his injuries and that slow start, he's not in contention. And there's just been a lot of injuries, and I would say not mediocre quarterback play, but a little bit underwhelming. And he's put up one of the best numbers. Cowboys are 8-3 now. They're in a prime spot to be probably the 5th seed, just because the Eagles are so good. But he's definitely in contention. I think 23 passing touchdowns to only 6 interceptions. He definitely got the interceptions down, which has been great. And I think 2 rushing touchdowns. And so, yeah, even though I did my midseason awards and had Lamar, he's definitely put himself up there. And I believe, as of right now, I'd have him in my top 3 alone. And then the last game was 49ers Seahawks. I knew this was going to be a blowout. San Fran just looked like the better team. Brock Purdy, great game. 49ers are now, I believe, 8-3. They've, after losing 3 games, have won 3 games in a row. They're going to be either the 2 or 3 seed. Their defense has looked great since Chase Young came back. Nick Bosa had a really good game, even though he's had a disappointing season. And just 49ers are one of the best teams. They went through a rough patch, but every team loses games, and I don't know if they'll lose another one this year. That's how good they looked. And then moving into Sunday's action, so today, we got a couple of divisional matchups coming up with the Saints versus Falcons in Atlanta. This is a must-win game for both. The Saints are in the playoff spot with a 5-5 record in the NFC South. The Falcons are 4-6, looking to win this game, but I just trust the Saints more. I think they have a very solid defense. I saw them, watching the Vikings. They struggled the first half, but bounced back the second half tremendously. And I just think they're the better team. I don't trust Arthur Smith to win this game. I think the Saints will ultimately prevail. Then Steelers versus Bengals. Picked the Steelers last week. Defense only allowed like 13 points, but they still lost 13-10, which led to Matt Canada's firing. But it seems for whatever reason, as we saw with the Bills last week, whenever there's an offensive coordinator change or like a firing, the team always seems to go off next week. And I think this will be somewhat the same. The Bengals defense is still solid, but Jake Browning, I mean, his first career start, I don't think it's going to go that well. I have the Steelers winning there. And then probably game of the week, arguably, Jacksonville heads to Houston in an AFC South matchup. Winner of this will take over first place with the 7-3 Jags versus the 6-4 Texans. And I thought about this game a lot, but I just have to go with the Jaguars. I think this is where CJ Stroud, maybe some rookie mistakes are made. He had a couple last week against the Cardinals, throwing 3 interceptions. Still, Houston won. It's been a great story, but I think the experience, I just trust Jacksonville more. Doug Peterson, despite their 7-3 record, a lot of people aren't impressed. Trevor Lawrence's numbers aren't that great. Their defense has been great, but their offense has been so lackluster. But I think they need to win this one, and I think they're just the better overall team. They have to win this one. They got embarrassed by Houston in week 3. It was like 37-17. They got to bounce back and win this one. I believe they will. Then moving into Tampa Bay versus Indianapolis. It's just going to be one of those maybe shootout games, I think. The Colts offense is very high-powered, turnover-worthy with Gardner Minshew. I think it'll be a shootout, but I trust Tampa Bay a little bit more. I like their defense a little bit more. Their weapons with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. I think they'll have enough just to stay in the NFC South race and win this one, but it's going to be very close. Then, probably the dumpster fire of the week, we got the Patriots traveling to the New York Giants in a battle of, 2-8 and 3-8 teams. The Giants actually got a win last week against the Commanders. But, I mean, I have really no words for this game. I think it's going to be boring, one of those low-scoring 17-10 games. But I just trust New England more, I guess. Bill Belichick. I don't think they'll lose this one with Tommy DeVito, who's looked, honestly, like the Giants' best quarterback this year. But I don't think he'll get a lot going against a solid Patriots defense, and I think the Patriots will win. Then Carolina versus Tennessee. I got Tennessee. Tennessee got blown out by Jacksonville last week, but Carolina's the worst team in football. It's in Tennessee. I think Will Levis will have a solid day, and the Titans will win that one. And then we move into action with the Rams versus Cardinals. I think the Rams will win this one. Cardinals put up a good fight against the Texans last week. Kyler Murray's looked pretty good since his return. But I think the Rams with Puka Nacua, I don't know if Cooper Kupp's playing with his injury, but Matt Stafford, they should have enough to get by. And coming off a win against the Seahawks last week was very impressive. So I think they have a little bit more momentum. And then we go into Browns versus Broncos in Denver. I think the Broncos will win. They're on a 4-game winning streak after starting off 1-5. They look solid now. They've been forcing turnovers, which has allowed them to beat teams like the Chiefs, Bills, Vikings last week. The Browns 7-3, great defense. I think this is going to be once again a 17-10 game. I think it's DTR starting for the Browns, who did not look great last week, but the Steelers defense is really good. I think it'll be close. Browns obviously losing Deshaun Watson for the year. That stinks, but the Broncos will win. And then Chiefs Raiders. Raiders put up a good fight against the Dolphins last week in Miami. It's a 1-score game, but I just can't trust Aiden O'Connell against Patrick Mahomes. I think the Chiefs win this one. And then my upset of the week, I have the Bills going into Philly and winning. I think this is desperation for Buffalo. They're fighting for a playoff spot coming up. They got huge momentum last week after beating the Jets by 25 points or something like that. The Bills need this one. I think we just get one of those Josh Allen performances where we remember, oh, yeah, he's a top 5 quarterback. I think it'll be close, obviously. Philly's a great team. Nothing against them. I just think the Bills need to win this one more, and it wouldn't be surprising if Philly won by 10+ and made Josh Allen's life hell. But I just think the Bills need this one more, and I think this is their last stand with a win against the Eagles. And then, lastly, for the Sunday games, Baltimore heads to Los Angeles, and I just got the Ravens. I think they're the better team. Lamar Jackson's been playing great, MVP level. Chargers, man, Brandon Staley needs to go as soon as possible, and hopefully this loss gets them closer to that. And then Bears versus Vikings. I got the Vikings because they need it. They're 6-5. Their winning streak came to an end last week, but they've been playing pretty good ball since Kirk Cousins went down. Josh Dobbs has been pretty solid. Still can't be leaving the pocket every play. As we saw last week, Broncos, when blitzing him, made his life very tough back there. But I think the Vikings will win this one. Bears choked against the Lions. I think Matt Eberflus is gone after this year. So the Vikings should win. And those are my picks for this week. Hopefully we have a better week than weeks past. It's just been a really tough year because the whole league's been crazy, unbalanced. It's been so competitive that even teams like the Eagles are winning close games, even though they're 9-1. But it's been a very fun year, to say the least, and hopefully we get to see more. Thank you for listening. Hope to catch you next video.